Yeah, he's going to be one now.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Give me a moment. I just starting the go live. I think we are live, guys. So shall we start?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So hi all. Thanks for joining. And this is our fourth Remix India meetup.
Yeah, awesome.
Uh, Wait a minute. I just yeah. Sorry, actually, in the where it's we are live, guys. So shall we start?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So hi all. Thanks for joining. Where is my voice coming from? Give me a moment.
I think you are live streaming. I think that's the reason. Is the audio coming from some tab?
Sorry, actually, in the yeah. From where this audio coming? I'm just checking.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
From where this video is
I
coming?
think it's coming from you. Like that's the thing.
Where is my voice coming from? Give me a moment.
I think you are live streaming. I think that's the reason. Is the audio coming from some tab?
Yeah, from where this audio coming? I'm just checking. Give me a moment. I stopped.
I think it's coming from you. Like that's the thing. You're on mute, Anuj.
Sorry, got it. I found one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys. Actually, in the my actually I have three laptops, two screens. So in my laptop, the recording was like YouTube was open, and that's why it's happening. Sorry for that. Okay, guys. Yeah. So hi all. Thanks for joining. This is our fourth Remix India meetup, and we will do a meetup every second Tuesday of the month. I have created a form if you want to talk at this meetup, and please fill out the form, and we will try to schedule it for the upcoming meetups. Okay, so let me introduce Dipankar Bade. Dipankar is a 20-year-old IT engineer student based in Mumbai. He's a working as a software developer in 100 MS company. So he spent most of his time doing React, Next.js, TypeScript, Electron or learning Golang and Rust in his free time. So he's a core contributor to the Life project, and he actively contribute to open source, and some of the organization he contribute to are from 100 MS Versal. So he's a creator of the Chloro map and map affinity. Yeah, so over to you.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for the lovely introduction, Anuj. Yeah. So in this session, I will be building something which would be done for the first time in the history of since the remix framework was actually founded. So nobody has actually built a video chat application till now. So this will be the first time. So it's gonna be really also like yeah, I will be live coding. So please like let's hope the coding gods are with me and I don't mess up really bad. Yeah. So best wishes for me. So let me Anuj, can I confirm my screen is being shared?
Yes, I am able to see.
Yeah. So let me just go to my deck. So I've created this PPT of 8 pages, but I will be mostly spending my time like trying to show you more things than this PPT itself because I think it's more fun to see some things in like real life, right? So yeah, I'm Dipankar, and this we will be building a video chat application in the Remix framework. So I don't need to give you an intro because Anuj already gave it, and so let's just skip to the good part. Let's just start with understanding what the agenda of today's call is. right? So what we'll be building today, I already told you it's going to be a videos and application, but it's a very broad term, so I've just divided it into some subparts. So first one is we'll discuss what we actually want to build, what kind of features it will be having, and all those good things. And I will also show you something that will kind of blow your mind, I think. And second thing, we'll be setting up remix project. There's a bunch of things that we need to do, and then we'll discuss how we can actually create nested routes in remix, and also setting up env, which is not that much of an issue, but we'll just discuss it. The fourth part is something new and not related to remix, but it's the beauty of how you can actually add live video to your application. So we'll be integrating 100 ms React SDKs to it, and the final part is adding the live video aspect. And the last part is deploying on oneself. So this is the agenda that we will be covering. But if we actually cover everything in just under 1 hour, then I will be also taking up some more questions and taking up more features that we can add in one of the new chat application. So let's just discuss our first agenda, and it's what we can actually build. So I told you that it's a video chat application, but a brief description would be it's kind of similar to Google Meet. And I have highlighted some points. So this is the point one, point two, and point three that we are actually going to build. I have like intentionally kept this blank because it doesn't make sense to actually tell these things. I would rather just show you a live demo, right? So let me just give you a live demo of what we're going to build. So yeah, so this is the link that has the live demo. You don't need to worry about like getting this link and all this stuff because I will be posting everything in the end of the session. So if I go to this link, yeah, here it is. So if I go to this link, you can see a bunch of things like it is an application with remix and like less than 100 lines of code. And there's a blog and there's a code, and you can go to GitHub and all these things. And there's a public demo link. Let me speak it out. And let me just join as yeah. So I have joined in this application. I am gonna see my video. I'm speaking. I can turn off my audio and video. Now let us take this link and join it on the tab. Let us join and click to. You can actually see there's actually two Dipankars here. And this is what we're gonna actually build in just under 1 hour, right? So an interesting thing that you can notice here is the URL. So this URL pattern is something like Unity, then there's slash this thing, and then there's slash this host. So if you kind of understand this thing that the last parameter is actually the role name, right? And this one is understand as a room ID. So it's something how Google Meet works. Google Meet only has this one parameter, but we have done two parameters to make things easier and understanding and to make remix some of the concept of remix pretty well, right? Let me just close out this tab. I hope it was a pretty cool intro. Now let's go back to our deck. Right. So as I showed you the demo, but how these things are actually working, right? So let me just give you some brief introduction to 100 ms. So I work at 100 ms, but this is not just endorsing; it's actually really good, right? So 100 ms is basically a company that provides library infrastructure for the world. And if you consider building a video chat application or anything that has library aspect in it, it's really difficult. It's not easy. So we have taken all these hard things and have created a very powerful abstractions into our React SDKs, Android, iOS, or anything, any framework that exists or any platform that exists. We have simplified it for the best developer experience. And since we are developers, we make sure that the developer experience is pretty good. And I will actually show you that how good it is. And obviously the API that just works, we have 100% uptime, and we have a dedicated React SDK, which is really amazing if you think of because it has a reactive store, it has Redux support and all those things. Like, all the good stuff that you can think of, it is having it. So if you want to use like this thing, all those things, if you want to get the room ID and all the stuff, let's just go to 100 ms dashboard. So this is basically the dashboard 100 ms slide. So if I just log out and again,
And guys, the best part here is like we are using the live things here, 100 ms, and the app. Even you are also joining this. So that's a very good thing. Like we are also live testing this
Yeah.
whole
So
thing.
one of the like proof of concept of all of these things is this entire conference is actually happening on an 100ms application that we have a sample demo of our application, right?
And even we
So
are also live streaming the same thing on the
yeah,
YouTube if you want to see.
yep. So yeah, so the idea is that when you create an application, like when you sign up in dashboard, you are given a bunch of options to create an app, right? So if I go to app and if I write something like this, create a subdomain. So basically, if you see this thing here, it's actually having a subdomain of Remix India, and that's what Anuj actually did, right? I go and create next. I choose a template. For example, I want to choose a virtual events template. That is actually happening now. It will automatically register its domain and all those things, set up application, deploy it, all those things, and it will already create all those things. So that the thing that I was telling you before is the role is this thing. So stage, backstage, all those things. So roles are basically the things that have some certain permissions. Like backstage has the video sharing permission, audio sharing permission, but the viewer doesn't have it. So all of you have joined as a viewers, you won't actually see these things because you don't have the audio video access, right? So now let's just go to the dashboard. Now let's just go into rooms. Let's go into templates, right? So if I go to a template, you can see the role names. Let's go to virtual events template and you can see backstage, invitee, and stage. So these are all the small things that you can actually do to like have some permissions and publish strategies and all those things. There's a subscribe strategy too, so that only so suppose like backstage shouldn't actually hear stage, and then you basically don't subscribe stage to the backstage, right? So you can deep dive into much later, but the most important thing that we actually need is this developer tab. We need I cannot actually see the token endpoint, so let me just go to my different account. Yeah. So to start setting up with an SDK, we actually need the token endpoint. So if you sign up on Randomness dashboard, you basically just take this and use it in the ENV. But we'll get into that when we start the programming aspect. Yeah. So since I'm not focusing too much on this PPT and all those things, I'm going more hands on. Let's just like go into and start the programming thing, right? So setting up part is pretty straightforward. You can just do the npx create remix latest thing. So this will actually like get the latest remix package and create an application. But if you want to really follow around this tutorial, then make sure that you actually choose Vercel as the deployment target, because the last step of this thing is deploying it on Vercel, right? And also another thing that I took that I kind of regret is that choosing the TypeScript template instead of JavaScript, because yeah, I mean I thought it would really be helpful, but it wasn't that much. Yep. So I kind of already went ahead and did this thing to save time, obviously. And I also set up some components that were already right. I mean, like, I don't want to create bunch of divs and all those things. I want to focus on the remix aspect and integrating 100 ms SDK in it, right? So I kind of skipped this part, but I'll actually show you what I have done. Let me just get the thing. Yep. Can you guys see my VS Code? Can you confirm, Anuj?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yep. Is the font size like good enough? Just let me know.
Just open one file, then I will confirm. Now it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's something like this.
Yes, little
So
bit
like,
zoom, little bit zoom. Just
okay. I mean, I think more zoom would be okay. I
no,
think
no,
so.
that's fine. Just yeah, now it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not good, then because yeah, I mean, this is fine. I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So if I actually see the remix project, that it's pretty straightforward. I have only changed like only added these components here, and the main reason I did it because to save time. If you see these components, these are basically dumb components. They don't actually have logic inside them, right? It doesn't have a proper state management and all those things. Like this is basically just components that are building the UI, right? Another thing I did is that created this global CSS files because honestly, I don't want to waste time doing the CSS part, right? So yeah, other than that, I didn't change the homepage. Let's just start our server first. Let me just get the thing. Yep. So let's just go. our Chrome tab. Right. So now if I open localhost 3000 and if I actually see inside the routes folder, the index.tsx file, I can actually see that the content that is displayed here is quite similar to these things. And that is because this is how remix actually works. So basically what kind of files you actually create inside this routes folder, it will actually show it in that specific path. So for example, if I actually create hello.tsx and also do this thing, let me just let's just go to hello. Yeah, you can actually see hello from deep here. And that is one of the most powerful feature of remix, that it provides page based routing. This is similar to next.js, but it's a pretty cool feature to have. So let's just try to like, before going into the our first problem statement, let's just add 100ms SDKs to it. So we're going to add two SDKs. First one is the React SDK, and then second one is the React icons one. So let's just add them. It will take some time. So till this installation is there, like I mentioned, that you basically need to add envs and all those things. So if you go into the env file, you basically have to add the token endpoint that we can get from the developer dashboard in 100ms. So basically this thing, you have to take and paste it over here because we will be using it to generate our token. This is really essential when it comes to integrating 100ms to it, right? So let's just delete this hello thing. We don't need it. So let's just start with integrating 100ms to it. So let's just think how the 100ms, how we can actually integrate 100ms SDK to it first. So these are the 100ms docs, by the way. So let's go to React Quick Start. We have already done the installation part. Now, to initialize the SDK, we need to wrap our root component with this HMS room provider. So basically, we can get it from this SDK thing. So let's just go to our root component. If we hover over it, so I was talking about developer experience in 100ms. So basically, if you hover over it, it will give you a types and JS doc, sorry. So it will tell you like what this thing actually does. So this is the top level wrapper for React SDK hooks. Uh, so if you actually try to use 100ms functions without doing this, it will actually throw you an error, which will tell you that you need to wrap your root component with this thing. So let's just wrap this thing with this. Right, so we are done here. Let's just check if things are working. Yeah, so nothing's broken yet. So awesome. Now, since we have integrated 100ms room provider to it, now let's just go into the first problem statement that we have. I mentioned that the URL works in this way. There's a meeting, then there's slash, then there's the room ID, and then there's the slash, and then there's roles, right? So the thing is that what you would say me that how you can actually create and remix is this thing. Like you can create meeting, and you can create basically slugs. I don't know if it's the correct syntax, but the idea is this thing that you can basically nest folders. But what I actually found interesting in remix is that you cannot actually do these things, right? When there's more than one layer of nesting, you have to do some hacks, and those hacks are actually mentioned in this remix config. So basically you will define routes in this case. So in this case, it's actually given that anything inside somewhere and cool, literally anything, it will render this catch all tsx file, right? So think of it in this way that instead of somewhere cool, it's actually meeting. And that's what, and in that case, we will render a component called as meeting.tsx. So that's what we're gonna do. Basically, we just copy this thing, go to our code in the remix config. So yeah, I already added it because I was trying those things out before. So basically, if I go into meeting, and it can be anything, like I can add 10 more fields or 10 more URLs or anything, any params, it will basically render this thing. So now if I save and I restart the server, And if I go to meeting, this thing probably won't work. And that's because the meeting.tsx component doesn't exist. So this is the beauty of Remix because it tells you what the error is, right? So if actually see, I have already created, went on and just created this component, but let me just make it .tsx. Now everything works. This is another dumb component that I've created. It's basically rendering this global.css file, adding those styles that I have created to make things more beautiful in less amount of time. It's rendering this live component. So let's just see what this live component actually does. So if I click on live, sorry for that, you go inside live, it's actually having this variable called as is connected as false. And based on this thing, it's actually rendering the room and the join component. So join is basically the form. So when you were joining this link, this event link, you were actually shown an input to enter your name. So basically this would be this component. And the current component that you are inside now, you are seeing me and Anuj, is basically this room component. So this basically means if the person is actually connected to the room or not. This is pretty straightforward, and inside the room component, there's nothing really. It's a pretty dead code. It's just having this header and all those things, which is also nothing. It's just a bunch of divs. And inside the join component, there's an input, there's a button, and there's a form. That's it. No functionality is added. That is why I call them dead components. Right. So yeah. So the first problem statement that we have is this thing. Let me just add meeting. Yeah. So if we see that when I actually went, let me just remove that thing. I thought it was needed. So when I went to meeting slash this thing, right, it actually rendered this join room, and that is because the live component, this connected thing is false, and that is why this join component is being rendered. But if you see that this join thing needs a token, right? So we need to find a way how we can actually generate the token, right? So to generate a token, you basically need this HMS token endpoint. And to call that endpoint, the best way to do in Remix is data loading, right? So Remix has this. So one of the best features of Remix is first one being the routing, and the second one being the loader functions, right? So they basically allow you to call backend APIs and render it in the front end, right? Something like server side rendering and all these things. So in this example that they have given is that this is like simulating an API call, and they are getting this bunch of information, and then they are getting this with this use loader data hook, and they are like rendering this bunch of divs over here, right? So basically we're going to be doing the same thing, but the thing is that instead of hard coding this part, we will be actually making a call on our token endpoint and get the token, right? So I just try to do it. Let me just like take all of this stuff and this thing too. Right, so cons, um, first thing should be, I think the loader function would be export cons.
You can copy paste from the website if you.
Oh
That will
yeah,
help us to quickly do it.
yeah. I mean like, yeah, like I don't really remember because like,
Yeah, that's why. Don't try to remember. Just copy.
yeah. So yeah, this is the idea. Instead of returning in JSON, we don't basically need this thing. So first we need is the endpoint, which will be in process.env. Let me just check what the env name is. It's HMS token endpoint. Let's just take it over here. For now, let's just return the endpoint itself. Let's just check if it's actually return it. So we are basically we are trying to like simulate an API call where this will be will be returning the endpoint itself. Let's just take, I think that is the token. Let's use loader data, and I think this should work. How will this should work? Let's just see. Token. Yeah, it works. So this was in our env file, and now it's being shown here. So we have confirmed that env is working. But one of the things that you need to do to make env working in Remix, at least in the versal deployment thing, is that you need to add a new package called as .env. You have to add it as a dev dependency. This is something that I encountered, and you should actually do this thing if you want versatile deployment and use ENV. Yeah. So we have the endpoint here. Now we have to make like a post request to this endpoint, right? But before going into that, let's just try to see how we can actually get these params. These params, like I want this room ID and this role name, right? So how we can actually do this is this loader function actually has params attribute in it. So let me just console log params here. Let's just see. So if you see this log that has happened here, you can actually see that this asterisk thing has this value of our current URL, right? So if I do params dot asterisk, I can actually see my entire URL, right? So what if I, so basically how I can get all of these things is like split this thing on the basis of this slash and get all my terms, basically my room ID and the role name. So let's just get the, what we can call this as slug, I guess. Yep. So I think the room ID would be slug 0. Oh no, wait. I have to actually split this thing through. So const URL is equal to slug split on the basis of this thing. So const room ID should be URL dot 0, and the const role should be URL 1. Yeah, I think we are good to go, but let's just check it out once. Oh, what did we do wrong? Possibly undefined. Let's just check whether this thing is working. Yeah, so this is working, as you can see here. So now we have to make the post call. So why I'm having this room ID and role thing is because the JWT token that is being generated needs these things. So let's just make our API call. I'm just gonna like, let's just copy paste this instead of doing this thing, because we'll save this time. And it's just a fetch call. So basically taking this endpoint, routing it to this API token. It will take all of these things. So we can remove this, right? So yeah, taking all of these things, like room ID and all those things, and extracting the token and returning the token. So now just return the token, and now see, yep, the token is being generated. Now just refresh it once, and the token is here. Refresh it again, then the token is here. So yeah, we solved our first part, that is generating the token. Just shut up the types of compiler. Yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah. So so we have now token of we have our token thing here. Now let's just pass the token at this thing. By the way, this is not a really great way to harness like the remix loader function. You can actually do a lot of things like handle errors, like wrap this thing into try catch, like adding error boundaries and all those things. But like for making this tutorial shorter, like I have done these things. But if you actually check out this entire code, it's actually pretty, like it's handling a bunch of errors and all those things, right? So now I have this thing done. So the entire thing that we wanted to do in this component is done. So now let's move into the live component. Now we are inside the live component and we are having this thing hard coded. Like this thing is false. So always, anytime in the next 100 years or 1,000 years, or even like, yeah, so this is going to be false and this will always render this join component, right? But how do we make this kind of reactive? Like what if the person has actually joined the room and but this will be still false, right? So this is the thing with 100ms SDK is that you ask these questions to the data store, but how do I actually ask them, right? So let me just import some things. Import from SDK. Let's just do select is connected to room. Now, since I'm talking about DX again, if I start typing, since this is entire thing was written in TypeScript, it will actually give me some tsdoc, jsdoc suggestions. And what this tells me is that this is the Boolean flag which will denote if the person has actually joined the room or not. So this will return true only if the person has joined the room, and false when it's in preview or has not joined. So it will currently be false because we are not joined the room yet. But to access these things, you have to actually use HMS store. So this is a hook. Consider it as a use state or use effect. But in 100ms things, it's use HMS store. It basically allows you to like read data. So this Redux store is very massive. But if you want to get specific data of it, like you want to know what kind of room is this and all those things. So basically you use this hook for that. So I'll just type this here. This will take a selector function. If you actually see, it will actually telling me that there's a selector function that needs to be put inside, which is basically this thing. And that's it. So if I hover over is connected, it's actually a Boolean value, right? So now if I save, it will still give me this join room thing, which is actually correct because we haven't actually joined the room yet, right? Let me just remove this token thing, and we are good to go, right? So inside the live component, now let's just go inside our join component. Now that we are inside our join component, we will see that even in the UI, you can see that there's this enter name, there's this join button, and that's it. And on submit, it basically fires this join root function, which is currently empty. And we are storing this values and all those things inside this use state hook, right? But how do I actually join the room, right? So, and that is where, so store is basically meant for reading the data, and actions is basically meant to take actions, as it says. Let me just quickly go to 100ms docs, and let us go to join room. Let's go to React. And to basically join room, you just have to use this use HMS actions. It will return an set of actions. And on the actions, you have to call the join function. And the join function actually takes an config. We actually don't even need to refer the docs for this thing. Let me just show you how I'm saying that. Import thing from 100ms get
So
SDK.
it's a very good thing if you also help to refer the document, so that suppose if I will try in the future, then I can
Yeah.
also refer the doc.
No,
It
why
will
I'm
help
actually
us.
saying that, yeah. So, like, what I'm saying is that, yeah, using docs till this point is good, right? HMS actions allow me to do this thing, and join is done with the help of this thing. But if I really want to know what this config actually means, basically, I have to just use the SDK. I will just tell you like how you can actually use this thing. So since I have this thing, let's just hover over it. It doesn't have TS docs, unfortunately. I will add it after this call, but take this thing. Now I have access to actions. So basically, like actions are basically like your actions. Like you are turning your video off, you're turning your audio on, your screen sharing. So these are basically the actions. So actions dot join. So I have not even completed typing, and it's actually telling me that join function can be used to join the room if the join room is successful, and all those things. But it takes a parameter called as config. This is what I also showed you in the docs. So let me just see what this config actually does. So config basically takes two things. First one is the username. Uh, the username, the state is being maintained here, so we'll just pass name here, and it takes auth token. Now we did all those things with the help of loader function and generated token, passed down the token to the join component, and that's it. You're done, right? That's it. That's the amount of code that you need to add to this thing to make it work, right? So let me just explain you theoretically that what things would happen if I actually join the room now. So ideally, what should happen is when I click on the enter button, it will fire off this join room function. It will fire off this function, which will ultimately make the person join the room and make this is connected thing as true and render this room component, which will is basically, I think it's not rendering much things. But let's just see. Let me just write on that. So moment of truth. Hope this works. Yep, it works. And we have actually joined our room. So basically room component is being rendered here, right? But where's the video audio part in this thing, right? You must be wondering that this guy's been talking for like past half an hour, but where's the video thing? And we'll do that. So this is the next part. Let me just leave this thing and let's just go to our room component. So basically everything that we wanted to do with the join component is done now. So let's just move to the room component. And we have these three components, header and conference. So header is nothing we want to do about. Footer we will look in the last. But let's just focus on this conference component. So this conference component is only rendering this div, which is kind of useless. I really want to show that there are people in this room. How can I actually do that? So what I told you before is that if you want to ask anything of the current status of the data and all these things, you can just ask the store. So exactly what we did in this like this room component, live component, you have to basically do the same things. You have to take the store and ask them questions. But we don't need this value here. We want to know that how many people are in this room. I have joined, so I should basically know that I have joined the room. The other person should know that same. So for that, we actually use a function called as select peers. So there is an excellent documentation for it. So if you go into documentation, it will step by step show you all of those things. So I think it's inside this render video, and if you go inside the React, yeah, basically this thing, select peers, right? It will give you how many people are inside this room. So even if I hover over it, it will tell me an array of peers, basically remote and local peer present inside the room. So it's straightforward as it is. So peers and use HMS store, select peers. Now, since peers is an array, we will just map over them. So peers dot map. Let's just create like a div or something. I think it should work. What's wrong? We'll add a key, and in this case, the unique thing would be the ID. It's basically the peer ID of these things. For now, we will just render the name of the person. So p dot name, and just save this thing. Let's try it out. I will just join as deep here, and I can see my name. I will just mute this side so that the echo doesn't come. I'll just go to another thing. Now let's me join as Anuj. And you can see that it's actually showing me that these are the people, but we don't actually want to show their names. We want to render the video. And how do we actually do it? So that's the next part. Now finally, we'll go into the rendering video thing. So rendering video is pretty cool now. Now that we have our like React SDK to it, you just have to do one line of code and it will abstract all kind of things that you needed to do before, right? So let's just go and make things easy. Let's just create a new component called as peer, and return this here. Mm, yep. This will take the peer component. Peer key would be p.id, and it will take peer as it's taking the peer, and okay. So to render a video, we basically have one hook that is called as use video, right? So let's just go into our SDK, import use video hook. That's it. Import it over here. We'll just hover over it and what it actually does. So there's an amazing JS doc here that will explain all of the things that is needed. This hook is basically implemented on a video dial component. It just needs the track ID and it will return you a React ref which you can attach to the video element, and that's it. It will do all the magic of like rendering the video and all those things, right? So let's just create a video component, video HTML element, and let me just get this ref thing. Just use video hook. This will take an track ID, which is basically here dot video track. So how I actually know this thing is because if I actually select this thing and see the type of HMS sphere, I can actually know the entire interface of HMS sphere itself. And there's this video track, which is basically our track ID that is needed to pass. So we can get a video ref, which we need to attach it to this video element. We don't need the source attribute, so that is fine. Let's just check this types of compiler for now. And another thing that we need to do is basically add these attributes over here to make it work. Capital, this should be capital 2. Got it. Now let's just try it out if this thing actually works. So just join us deep. Oh, hello. Yeah, so this thing works. Let's just join as another person. Let me just join as Anuj. Yeah. So the styles are kind of messed up. Like I don't know, I didn't see the styles that are being present here, but you get the idea. Like if you want, I can actually do that too. Like just let me know in the chat. Like Anuj, just let me know if you want to focus on that too. But yeah, so we basically got the video part working. So now what we need to do is make this things actually like if I'm clicking on this thing, this is not working because it's dead component. So let's just leave from both of these things and move to our footer component. This footer component is completely dead. Like it doesn't knows what it's actually doing. It's just bunch of footer. It's just one footer, and inside it, there's 3 buttons, which have this an empty function that is firing on. But how do I actually like make this thing actually work? And so what I told you that there's store for reading data and actions for taking actions. So like we have to just use actions in this case, right? So if I want to leave the room, we will just use actions dot leave, similar to what we were using actions dot join to join the room, right? So let us import use HMS SDK actions. I think that's the only thing that we need, and probably gonna get
So you
actions.
guys have provided all the action, all the things, state. Just we need to use it in the UI. And
Yep. So the thing is that these adding live video itself is pretty hard, and maintaining the state is cumbersome. So if you actually look at like I have used other SDKs too, and you have to manage the state yourself, right? You have to manage all the events. Like if someone is joining the room, you have to actually fire a call back and all those things. But in this case, we know that these problems are hard to solve as a developer. So we as a developers basically integrated it, abstracted all those things inside our own SDK. And to mention another thing is that if you actually want to like render a video with a component was in the conference, um, you actually have to write some more lines of code. So if you look at our old pattern, you have to actually write this much amount of code to render a video. But what we did is that we abstracted all of those things for React inside this just one line of code, which is just the use video hook, because we really care about our like developer experience and all those things, right? So that's the thing. Like I don't wanna like brag a lot about these things, like, but it's actually genuinely good. So yeah. So let's just like make the leave thing work first. So we just have to do this actions dot leave. That's it. So it's a pretty straightforward function. This function can be called to leave the room. If the call is repeated, it's ignored, right? So that's it. Now our leave should be working. Let us try to write out. When I join the room, the is connected attribute becomes true. But now if I click on leave, my is connected attribute becomes false, and that's why it's rendering the join component again. Right? Now we also know that this use case of like doing this audio toggle thing is pretty important. That is why we also create another hook for it to make to save developers 10 lines of code, which is basically use AV toggle. However, this will tell me that what this actually does. So this is the hook that is used to implement mute and unmute audio for audio and video, and it also gives you this is allowed to publish thing, which is related to the rules. So viewer doesn't have the ability to publish audio and video, so this will be false. So this is something that you have to consider when you are building large applications that lot of people are gonna use, because they don't want to have these audio buttons and all those things invisibility, right? So let's just get this thing running. Use AV toggle. And what is this thing returning to me? So I will just do control and space. It's returning me is local audio enabled, and there's a small doc for it, true if unmuted or vice versa. So let me just do is video enable, is local video on. We probably don't need this thing at the moment, but maybe let's think. Like let's just focus on toggle thing first. Toggle audio and toggle video. Let's just save in audio. We can actually just do this instead. This as toggle video. Let's go to demo. Awesome. So again, you are seeing me, and if I click on this thing, video is off. You can actually see the audio thing because I've muted it, but I'm just like, just trust me, it works. So yeah, and leave also works again, obviously. Yeah. So like it's 9:48. So like, do you want like to style it and all those things, like to make it even like prettier and all those things? Like the demo was pretty prettier because I added classes and all those things here, but I think it would be a pretty like waste of time, like because
No,
functionality.
that's fine. I think people can
Yeah,
do it from their own self.
yeah. So
And
like let me know like if you want some more features that you want me to implement in the chat.
I think we can like guys, do you like they have couple of questions? I just make as couple of user as a stage so that they can ask from like Abhishek
Yeah.
has a couple of questions. Abhishek, okay, so do you use the reselect or the React context?
Yeah, we use reselect. Yeah, it's a good
Okay,
one. Yeah, we
yeah.
use it.
Is there any benefit like easier or benefits to use the reselect? Like you suggest, you have chosen the reselect as compared to React context. Any reason for this?
Yeah, I mean, not really. Bunch of reasons. Like I don't know. Like I have to ask someone who actually decided that decision, right? So the main reason is use reselector. I think it has more closer to Redux. Like this is what I know, and we are actually not using Redux here. We are using Zoostand, so which is like a
Okay, you are not using Redux.
yeah. But like we are having the data like the Redux like what it's called as DevTool support. So let me just demo that too. Like that is why I say like this developer experience is like too good. Okay, so it won't happen in this thing. Let me just go to Brave. So if I join now, just leave here. Okay, why is join not didn't work here? Yeah, yeah,
I think you have to mute.
yeah. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, I don't know why there are two of them here, but the idea is that where is the yeah, this is here. Let me leave here. Yeah. So this thing Redux store, if I click on it, it is having the entire support of Redux dev tools. So what I was saying before is that this entire data store is present here. So if I actually see that this having the room ID, this is connected thing. So basically the selector function, what they will do is like take the entire store, take a small chunk of the data. So in this case, the select is connected hook was actually getting this thing. And if you actually see that the peer thing, so select peers will basically return me this object. So this will take the object, will convert it into an array, and just send me back. That is why all of these things are here. Yeah, that's the idea. Like, I think you got it. Like, let me know if you have some more questions.
Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, do you have any question? I have make you as a stage so you can ask any question. Just enable your. No, 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 no. Abhishek is not. No question from Abhishek.
Yeah,
And
we actually use zoo stand by the way, Abhishek. Like I think that is why you pasted it. I think
okay, you stand.
yeah.
And you use the reselect, right? As compared to
Yeah,
react
I mean,
people.
we use actually the thing is that we don't actually use reselect directly. I think it's a dependency of some project, as far as I know, because there was some issue of some person, and in that case, we were like the reselect, some type was coming from reselect, and something like that. Like I don't remember it quite well, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the idea. How to control whether my video visuals are flipped? Okay, yeah, and good question. Okay, so you're saying that my video, local video was flipped, right, Rishi? Am I right? Okay, like I think that's what he means. So let me just,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
We can make Rishi as a
let me
stage.
just show you like the GitHub code for this thing,
Yeah, Rishi,
right?
you
So
can speak now if you want. I'm not sure why he's not able to.
yeah, I mean he like, are you inviting him to stage?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, hello Rishi. So let me just show you the code for that. I think it's in the app. It's in the components. It's in the conference. So inside every peer, there's another parameter called as is local, right? So if the person is a local peer, this would be true, and that is why this component actually has this thing. The if mirror is true, then this will add this mirror class name, which basically flips the video, and that only happens in that case. So local video should be flipped. That's it, and that makes things work really fine. So that solves your issue. In this case I didn't do this because it was a very small thing, and but in the like the GitHub code it's actually done. A lot of things are actually done in the GitHub app actually. Yeah,
Okay. Any question, guys?
amazing.
So it's open source. Could you please share us like the
Yeah,
link?
yeah, so let me just give you one more time I will screen share. So there's the code is open source since like February I think. So it's pretty cool actually. Like you can click on this deploy button, and you basically only have to add this environment variable. Let me just get this, my env. So I've taken this env. Okay, I have to do GitHub thing, create. Okay, let me just add on the name. Data. Yep, so this thing and this deploy. That's it. Yeah, and so this will start deploying the application. You don't even have to do anything. And the good part, the best part is that this entire talk is also abstracted inside a very, very, very rewarding blog. So everything that I said is actually very detailed, covered here. So you can also check it out if you get stuck on anything, that you can just refer this thing. And also you can just text me on Twitter anytime if you want to. And yeah,
And
it,
Abhishek has next question is streaming has a price model. Is it a pricing or I think it's a free? What I
yeah, I think it's
understand.
free. Recording is priced.
Okay, but
Yeah,
streaming is free.
yep. And how did it deploy so fast? Like I think 8 seconds took. That's pretty good. So let's just start the live demo. By the way, like I'm not sure if it should work. Let's just go into meeting. The idea is that taking this room ID that we were using it all time. Let me just go to dashboard. Let me just go to room. We just take this room ID. The I think this is having the speaker listener thing, so I don't think they will have the audio video access. This should have it. So let's just join. Go to meeting and host. I believe. Let's just check. It didn't work. I think. Hmm. Interesting. Unable to call server error. Hmm.
Are you able to get the token?
I don't think we will be able to know that because the token thing happens in the backend, right? So Let's just
But the
check.
network call should make, no? You are making the post call.
Let's just check. I don't think it will show. Let's just check it
Now
out
go
again.
on the network. It should. Just click on the join. Yeah, this call is failing.
Yeah, but this is the 100 ms this init endpoint thing. This is different. So this is basically token
The
generated.
401 is
Oh, a customer ID mismatch. I think this is an issue with the dashboard thing because this account is like really old and we made a lot of breaks and changes, so that's why it doesn't work.
okay.
But the idea is that if you have a latest account, it will definitely work. I still see a pricing. Okay, after 10,000 minutes, I see that it will have a pricing after. Okay, let me just check. Ta-ta. Okay, yeah, it has. It has. RTMP has. Yeah. Sorry, I actually didn't know that thing. But I think what's the audio thing? RTMP to Facebook, the destination. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Yeah,
Okay.
just let me know if you have any questions. Like, there's a lot of features that you can add, by the way, like with the help of like, there's similar abstraction that you saw at the moment. It's similar, like if you want to integrate chat, if you want to add screen sharing, if you want to add audio playlist, video playlist, like anything that you think of, even virtual backgrounds, audio compressions, all those things, all the good stuff that you can think of can be done in like very less lines of code. And it's not only restricted to React. We have like people using for Angular, people using for Vue. Yeah, because one of the reasons that we use Zoo standards because it's not restricted to React. You can actually use it in JavaScript too. So that
Okay, that's why you have selected it.
yeah. So that's the thing, right? And yeah, other than web, there's React Native, there's React Native, there's Flutter, there's iOS, there's Android. Yep, that's it.
Any plan to invite Kent? Where you want to invite Abhishek?
And I think Kelsey Dodds came here. The first talk was that.
Even today.
Yeah,
Actually, I even I ping him but I'm not sure.
I mean, it would have been really cool. Like he's using an application, like he's speaking, and it's built on remix. So
Yes,
yeah,
but hopefully maybe next we will try again. Maybe he will come.
but he definitely saw this application. By the way, like I saw him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Deep. It's a very valuable things, and we learn a lot of things from this talk, like how we can create an app, and at least we have 10,000 mint free, but at least we learn a lot of things from this.
yeah. I mean, like thing is that I built this for fun. Like I wanted to learn a new framework. I wanted to build cool things, right? And it just happened that this nobody had done that before, and also happened that Remix India had this thing open. So yeah, it was a jackpot, right? Honestly,
Yes.
yeah.
Thanks, Deep, for that. And guys, anybody want to speak on the next event? Please let me know, or you can ping me or on the Discord, or you can also fill the form. We have already like I think. Could you please share a screen, Deep?
Me,
And yeah, you can just because you. Or shall I share my screen? Give me a moment. I need to take a look. Yeah, I can. Great. Give- Okay, guys. So are able to see my screen?
yep.
Cool. So guys, like we are looking for next. We are looking for speaker for next event, and if you would like to speak, just there is one form here. You need to fill the form with like title, the description, and your name and email. Just and then I will take a look, and mostly we will we will schedule in the next upcoming week.
Yep.
Okay. Any question, guys, on this?
Yep.
And if you have any question, you can quickly directly ping to Deep, and he will try to answer everything.
Yeah, like we also have a Discord server. Like if you want, if you have like really technical questions you want to ask, because we have really good engineers, video engineers. So basically, you can ask anything, but web RTC, video, it's a video codecs, all those things.
Mhm. And 100 ms is a startup, right?
Yeah, it's a startup. Yeah.
Okay, and they're trying to beat the Meetup or Zoom.
No, we are not. That's the thing, right? We are not trying to beat these things. We are not a video conferencing company. We are a SDK company. We
Okay,
so this is so this thing is not meant to compete with Meet and all those things. This is a sample app. We use this like to show that this thing actually works. The live video, the quality, and all those things. It's pretty good. It's
okay, okay.
persistence. The uptime is high. Like I mean, you see like Zoom and Google Meet, like they are not like that good, but they're not that good. So if you want to scale to 10,000 viewers and even to 2 million users, 2 million live viewers, then those things don't work. And this is where we shine. Right? You cannot stream Olympics or IPL on Google Meet, but we can. That's the difference. Also, the fun fact, the IPL thing, so it has a world record of 20 million users, live concurrent users. So the same team that was behind that technology is actually the founding team of 100 ms file. Just saying. Yeah. So Disney
That's
Plus
a very good
Hotstar,
thing.
it's that they built this live world record system of 20 concurrent live viewers, and this basically left the company, built 100 ms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the story.
That's a very nice thing. Yeah, good to know about this thing. And they were
Yeah.
they were working in the Hotstar company.
Yeah, so they were working in Disney Hotstar. So the CEO was working in Facebook. He was very involved in the launch of Facebook Live. Like he's one of
Okay.
the like first person to actually launch, like the first person to ideate these things. He's also called the creator of Facebook Live, by the way. Like, so that's the
Oh,
thing. So he went on to Facebook, then he became VP of engineering at Hotstar. The entire team is basically half Hotstar. So that's the idea.
okay, okay, okay. And you are the student, like younger student, right? I
Yeah.
think you are the younger in your company.
Yeah, I am still the youngest engineer. When I joined, I was the youngest engineer because I was 19 at that age. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
20
nice.
now, but yes, it was kind of fun, like being the youngest one. But yeah, and you can do a lot of things because I can talk about things. I can build things. I have a lot of like enthusiasm because I'm in very young stage, right?
Cool. And Abhishek has a question. How about your studies?
Yeah, man. Like I actually went to college today, and it was like after 2 years, I think I went for a lecture. It was a lab, and I spent like 4 hours there in college. So basically, I have to travel to my college. It's 2 hour journey. Combined, it's 3 hours in returning and then going. So it's not less. It's pretty big. But in college also, teachers were like they will just give you some programs to run, and one of the program was mean median mode, which is just pretty shit compared to what I just showed you now. So that's the kind of thing, yeah. Like I don't understand. The first lecture we were supposed to do inheritance and access modifiers in TypeScript, but like basically I built an SDK in TypeScript. So like I don't know, man. Like this. I mean, it's definitely not meant like or just chuck it. I try to go to college, but I don't think I would be able to go to college. But I will definitely study. Yeah, attendance is not an issue.
75% attendance.
Actually, the college is pretty safe. Actually, Kaushal Joshi is from my college too. He's in CS batch. Yeah. So yeah, the idea is that I don't. My college is luckily pretty good. They don't care much about the percentage and all those things. So yeah, that's the thing that's helping me to come to continue working and contributing to open source rather than studying some subjects.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay, guys. So, anybody have any question?
Yeah, I mean, you can just come on stage and just ask me questions like Kaushal, you should come to stage, man. Like,
Just invite him on the stage.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's from phone or a laptop because I don't think it will affect. Kaushal, come to stage. I've asked for your permission. Yeah.
I did.
Hello, Kaushal. Yeah, what's up?
Hello, what's
Yeah,
up?
like I just invited you for like
I'm audible, right? It's just Lenovo webcam mic, nothing fancy.
Abhishek, do you want to also come?
Yeah, I mean, like this is the conference is done, like the talk is done. Now we are
But
basically
we
like
are on the live stream, okay,
even the
guys?
live set. Like you can
We
just
are
ask
on the YouTube live.
anything, or like I can ask you anything.
Okay.
Tell us something about you, show your projects, or like anything. Like can be anything.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Abhishek, go
Yeah,
ahead.
bilkul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Abhishek, go ahead.
Yeah. Talk about me. Like starting from college, I left around 2013, and since then I worked on various open source projects. One of the prominent one was Recode Camp, and helped them build the curriculum, and then uh, got got into like for quite a number of years I was only doing some open source work and started actual industry uh, since 2017. Yeah, 2017. So I've been working as a professional in both full stack. So
Cool.
that's most.
Abhishek, so are you using Remix in your app, like in your company?
Actually, I'm planning to. I gave a talk about Remix last month in office, but maybe I could have improved or something.
Okay,
So that's why I need to look into that Remix talks and know more about Remix so that I can actually use Remix in our one of the projects. That will actually make the project much faster, development faster, and maintainability is also better with Remix.
cool. So do you have plan for next meetup in Remix India? Just let me know if you have any plan.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Kaushal, do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, actually, I'm just here to listen to the. Actually, yeah, as he said, we are from the same college, and we are actually in a group where I post some quote unquote informative stuff. It's college thing, and then one day he messaged me, "Dude, you are also like write blogs and stuff." Then that day we got to know each other, and then I just stalked his LinkedIn and then Twitter, and I was like, "Dude, he's cool."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice. Like okay.
Cool. Uh, I think one more person. Rishi, do you want to come on stage and just want to introduce yourself?
Hey, why did we go into this other mode? I think someone is
Rishi?
speaking,
Yeah,
right?
go ahead. Hello, Rishi Raj? Go ahead.
Yes, Anuj. Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, as I've seen the demonstration, it's a really awesome app. Deep has done great work. So, Deep, have you done it alone, or did you have a team to work on this?
Yeah, I mean the remix thing.
No, 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 no.
Yes,
Your SDK. Your SDK.
SDK, audio video.
Yeah, I mean like there's like in 100 ms there are like 60 people at the moment, but like different people work at different sectors. But in the core engineering team, I think there's 20 people. Uh, like as far as I can remember, and there are 3 people who work on the web SDK, including me, and other people just work on like the infrastructure part, the DevOps part, and all those things.
Okay. And being an on-stage member, if I choose to end room, will it end the meeting for all of us, for all
Yeah,
the members?
yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I think it will.
So,
It will. Don't do it.
what I think here is, if some on-stage member tries to end room, then there should be a request for approval from rest of the on-stage members. Is it doable?
Yeah, it's. I don't think so, because the thing is that let me just show you one thing. It's based on the roles, right? So if I go to 100 ms dashboard, go to I don't know which template it should be. So yeah, can end current session of the room. This is basically the end room thing, right? So if you want to do that, you can basically create a specific role for that, right? So the current role that we are in actually has this clicked on. You get it?
What's the current role, please? Say it again.
Yeah, I mean, like the role that is at the moment, I think it's probably stage. They have the access to do this thing. They just turned on for them. So that is why they can actually end the current session. But if you actually, I mean, what you're saying kind of makes sense, but like it has a very like slim use case.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, just keep a note of it. It should be worked on, I think, because some member consciously or unintentionally may end the room for all.
yeah, right. Yeah,
That's a good thing.
makes
If
sense.
if that person was not a presenter or coordinator, then it will be troublesome for the rest of the viewers.
Correct. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
All right.
Honest.
Rest is all great. Great.
Yeah.
Great
Yes,
work.
Rishi.
Thank
Rishi,
you.
could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Anuj. I have been into IT industry for last 12 years, but recent years, mainly the last 1 year, I have been into freelancing only, not into regular job.
Okay, cool.
And
So, are you
yeah,
using Remix in your project?
no, not right now. In my project in freelancing, I have been using Spring Boot with Java only. And for my projects, last two projects while working in regular job, I used to use this AngularJS with Spring Boot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rishi.
Next I'm
Go ahead.
going to use React. Yeah, React and Java.
Cool. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Rishi.
Awesome.
I think we are,
Thanks.
yeah.
Thanks again.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's just, yeah, I mean, like, just an after party for you folks. Like, there's an Apple event that you can watch, just in case you're curious. Yeah, that's something that I will do after this thing. So, yeah,
All right.
and
All
after I
right.
have dinner, obviously. Cool. All right,
All
I'm
Cool,
nice to
guys.
meet you all. Like, I will just leave now, I think.
Yeah. Thanks all, guys. If anybody want to speak on the next event, just let me know, and we will schedule accordingly.
Amazing. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone. Bye.
guys. Thanks a lot for joining. Bye bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Have a
Thank
great time.
you. Bye.
Yeah. Many thanks, Anuj, for all this.
Thanks.
Yeah. See you again.